It's spring 1993, and I'm an E2 in the United States Navy, and I'm on the USS Constellation. That's an aircraft carrier. And I'm anchored out off the coast of St. Thomas, Virgin Island. It's a very warm, muggy day because we're closer to the equator. And I had duty, meaning I couldn't leave the ship. And I was stuck there for 24 hours pretty much. And I had this meeting after around 6 o'clock in the evening that I had to attend. And after that meeting, it only lasts 15 minutes. The rest of the night, I'm free to kind of do as I please. And it's such a beautiful scenery. I grabbed my radio and I went up to the flight deck and I just sat there and watched the sunset. And as I watched the sunset, it was so beautiful because you could see the lights of the city start to light up. So not only do I have this beautiful sunset here, but I can see the lights of the city here. The water is crystal clear. I mean, it's beautiful, the beautiful aqua color. If you've been to Virgin Islands, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And keep in mind, I'm on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier and I'm listening to this album I'm about to talk about. Today's no skips. We're going to talk about my girl, Sade. The album is Love Deluxe. Now, if you know, you already know. Now, there may be a few of you who have never even heard of Sade or even listened to Sade. And all I can say is she's a timeless artist. This band is a timeless band and they make timeless music. And if she came out right now, I guarantee you she could sell out arenas, stadiums even. If she came out, she don't even have to drop a single. She can just drop an album and it's going to sell out. That's how dope Sade is. But this album, Love Deluxe by Sade, by far is my favorite album of Sade's. It introduced me to Miss Helen Fashade Adu. That is her real name. Let's talk about this album. The album was released on October 26, 92. And let me paint this musical landscape for you in 1992, because some of y'all wouldn't even a twinkle in your daddy eye yet, right? In 1992, we had the emergence of groups like TLC, Mary J. Blige, SWV, Whitney Houston dropped The Bodyguard. R. Kelly was out with public announcement back then. Who else was out? Oh, the Queen was running, Miss Janet Jackson. She came back with some frosted curls looking mad good, right? And you had hip hop, which was at this time the golden era of hip hop when it was blowing up, you know. But there was this one lady, Miss Helen Fashade Adu, and her group of friends who not only did she take home a Grammy for this album, she paved her own lane. Like, she don't sound like any of those artists I just talked about. Not even close. She has her own unique sound. And that's why this album is so dope. Now, she had an album that she just released, Paradise, 4 years earlier. So there was a 4-year gap in between her last album and this album. And let's talk about what was going on. She was married to a Spanish producer. I think he was in the film industry or something like that. And that marriage had dissolved. It took her about 5 years emotionally to heal from some of that pain she was dealing with, right? So the cool part about knowing that is you hear it on this album. you hear her talk about her struggles and her deep, immense love for this man, but also the pain that it's caused her. You might want to know, like, why did she call it Love Deluxe? They asked her, well, what's more than love? Love Deluxe, right? And I think that's dope because when she's talking about this love, it's you can't have love without the pain. And I love how she puts that, she there's different ways of love presented on this album that I want to touch on, but there's a lot of pain also. And that's symbolic in life. You can't love, you can't really receive or feel love without the pain, right? And on this album, the first song, No Ordinary Love, you heard it on the soundtrack to Indecent Proposal. Um, that song won her a Grammy. But think about it. No ordinary love. She's telling this man like how much she loves him, but how much he also hurt her, right? Then you got the next song, Feel No Pain. Like when you think about what she's talking about, and she's talking about having to support her family and take care of them, she's talking about that love of family and her family struggles, right? Then the next song, I Couldn't Love You More. Very pretty song. And she's saying how much that she have to do. She couldn't love you any more than the way she's loving you right now. Like, and she's showing you how deep that love is. And then the next song, Like a Tattoo. Uh, it's funny because it sounds like a love song, right? I mean, the cool part is this is about uh, a person who is struggling uh, and the struggling to move on because he has all these memories of war. And she said she was in a bar and the man had told her his stories, and basically he had PTSD. And she wrote a song about it and says, like, the scars from the war are like a tattoo. And the cool part about it, even though it sounds like it's not it's trust me, it's on a lot of people's love mixes and playlists. But it's funny, right? Because it's not really a love song, but you know why? It's the feel of the music. And I want to talk about that mood too. That's the last song on the first side, right? Now, if you flip the album over, and I tell you this all the time, most classic albums only got 8 or 9 tracks on it. This one has 9, right? You flip it over, and if you listen to the whole first side, she's talking about pain, not only the pain of loving so much and being hurt by him and him not recognizing her love and the love of her family and trying to support her family and this man telling her this story and her appreciating his story and what he struggled with. All that's encapsulated in the song. And I think that's a really sad, it's very melancholy in a way. Beautiful music, but very melancholy. You flip it and it starts off with Kiss of Life. It's like a rebirth. And that's where she's talking that good stuff about love, right? Uh say that angel must have brought you to her side, like, and it's just a beautiful song. If you've heard it before, but if you know, it's just a beautiful song. And then she goes in to cherish the day and how deep her love is uh for this man, right? And that's it's very powerful when you think about it. The next song, Pearls, talks about how a woman, she's trying to scrape up, you know, get food, and she has to walk a long ways, but she's getting this food. It's about the famine in Sudan at the time. It's a sad song, really. But it shows a mother's love and what a mother would do for her children. Very beautiful song. But again, Sade has a way on this album of, because of the mood of the album, of weaving in things like PTSD and talking about a famine in the midst of pain of her own, and and being happy to be in love as well. It's not all so sad, but the music on this album is remarkable. We got Bulletproof Soul next, right? Mm. The cool thing about the song is it's about resilience from the pain of lost love. What I love about the song at the end, she says, I came in a lamb, but I leave a lion. That's about her resilience from being hurt and struck with, she says, this bulletproof soul, right? That this man has, like love can't penetrate, but she been struck by this slow bullet. Very, very beautiful song, deep, lush bass line. And then after that, it's the last song, which is called Mermaid. And the instrumentation, there's no words, it's just her band. Stuart, Andrew, and Paul. Those are the three guys that help her write her music and they play the instrumentation, right? And they formed the group Sade. Now she said in America we call her Sade, but her name is Sade. You know, I even named my daughter Sade after this woman. That's how much I love her music. But it's the perfect ending to this album. The way the music it it takes you somewhere. It's very immersive, as if you're swimming or something, right? The music is very immersive, especially this last song. And it's very soothing. It calms the spirit. I say you can, and that's why sitting there on that aircraft carrier and watching the sunset and looking at the night start to creep in, dusk as they would call or whatever. This album was the perfect album. And I'm like in the Caribbean, right? Virgin Islands. I mean, it's the perfect album for sunset, but it's also the perfect album that you can listen to in a gloomy, rainy day, right? This is one of those albums that you can listen to anytime when you're having a dinner party, you can throw this album on when you're trying to set the mood with your woman or your man or whatever, you float your boat, you can put this album on. So Love Deluxe, Sade, classic album, right? It's 4 times platinum. Like I said, won a Best Grammy for R&B group or duo. And the cover of the album itself is artwork. Oh, Sade. So there you have it. Another episode of No Skips. And today's artist was Sade with Love Deluxe. I hope you're enjoying the content. If you are, let me know in the comments. Please, I appreciate that. Do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, follow me. Do whatever it takes. I'm Andre Lamont Floyd on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course here, YouTube. So until next time, peace.